In 2022, the film Jeanne Dielman was voted the best international film of all time by the British Institute's Sight and Sound poll. This poll is done every 10 years. This is a surprise to most people since the more well-known movies like Citizen Kane and Vertigo had topped the list for decades. I looked around and was surprised that not much analysis was on the internet about this movie. All the reviews talk generally about the movie, but there's no details or no specific themes. So here is what you need to know about the movie without spending over 3 hours watching it. Please note the entire plot of the movie will be talked about, so stop now if you do not want spoilers. My name's Keith. I've been a big movie watcher my entire life. Here are my top 5 movies of all time. I think every commentator should share their top 5 to show their preferences. I feel I'm a pretty knowledgeable film person, but I had never heard of the Jeanne Dielman film. I watched the movie twice and came up with this analysis. I invite any person who has this movie in their top 5 to give a full detailed analysis themselves. Firstly, I totally disagree with viewers that say they can't separate writer-directors with their movies. I think a movie should stand by itself. But since most reviewers of Jeanne Dielman talk about the biography of the director, Chantal Akerman, I share 2 interesting points. She made this movie in 1975 at the age of 25 with an all-female crew. She died less than 10 years ago by reported suicide. The movie runs over 3 hours and 20 minutes. It's about 2.5 days in the life of a widowed housewife and teenage son. The housewife seeks order and routine. As time passes, disorder creeps into her life, leading her to murder. In terms of movie time, the first half day is 43 minutes, the second day is 77 minutes, and the third day is 74 minutes. The film spends extreme lengths of time on mundane tasks to have the viewer experience the passage of time. This is emphasized by long, unbroken takes with the same static camera angle. Jeanne's typical day. Wakes up, prepares breakfast/coffee, wakes up son, gives son money, washes dishes, goes shopping, watches neighbor's baby, prepares dinner, shopping, stops at a coffee place, preparation for dinner, man shows up for paid sex, man pays her, she puts the money in the dining room pot, son arrives back, she serves dinner, dinner's eaten. After dinner, his son works by himself, she knits, they go for a walk. She gets son ready for bed, she goes to bed. I found 3 different threads to the movie: the son, disorder, and men. Jeannie loves order, but as everybody knows, children are a constant source of disorder. No one is surprised by the son's unhelpful, uncaring behavior. On day 1, the son doesn't help her in any way and appears sullen during the whole meal. As much as she tries to, she doesn't serve him the correct portion of soup or potatoes and is disappointed in her failure. He ignores her during the entire meal and has to be told to stop reading at the table. It is revealed that he has chosen a Flemish school to be with his friend rather than to follow her heritage. After dinner, they go for a walk, but nothing is shared. On day 2, in addition to his similar dinner behavior, he said that he and his friend skipped school by faking an illness. He doesn't want to go for a walk because he passive-aggressively says, "Oh, she served dinner late." The dinner was only a few minutes late, as the viewer knows, because of the slow pacing of the movie. At the end of the night, she suggests her son can come home early the next day and bring his friend. Day 3, son doesn't show up at all. Over the course of the film, the son's behavior doesn't go from good to bad or order to disorder. He is consistently self-centered. His nightly questions/comments about how women should behave and feel borders on chauvinism. However, Jeanne's reaction to her son's bad behavior is to deny it. The shoemaker asks if her son listens to her. She lies and says yes. Jeanne feels that this self-sacrifice behavior is expected of her. She responds to a friend that she has no time to meet. We find out that she has only got married because it was expected of her, and she didn't really care who it was. We find out her husband died 6 years ago, but she remains loyal to him. She still wears the wedding ring, she spends time keeping herself groomed for him, and she rebuffs the suggestion that she should get remarried. This situation, which is presumably dictated by society, has left her without any other ways to earn money than to sell herself. It's interesting to note that all the places she shops at over the 3-day period are served by or run by women. It appears they do not share her life values. A neighbor talks about her difficult life as a housewife. Her husband demands she go and do all these mundane tasks. She goes on to say her husband is going away soon and she's not going to do any of these tasks. Jeanne, who is without the demands by a husband and still does all these tasks, has no comment. Disorder. On day 2, she puts the money in the pot but forgets to put the lid back on. She forgets to take a bath and just cleans the tub. She burns the potatoes, so she has to do another round of shopping. This delays dinner by a few minutes, which her son notes. She forgets to turn on the radio and doesn't do her knitting. Day 3. She misses the second button on her robe, drops the shoe brush while cleaning her son's shoes. The pull-up bed doesn't go back in easily as before. When she goes shopping, she doesn't wear a headscarf. She finds the bank is closed and the vending machine's broken. At the bakery, she can find no change and doesn't have a bag. When she arrives back home, she finds she accidentally woke up early. She spent over 16 minutes of screen time puttering around waiting for time to pass. This leads her to making dinner early. In this ever-increasing disorder, her 4-minute meatloaf preparation fits perfectly in the baking dish. She watches the neighbor's baby. The previous day, she left it happy on the dining room table while she had to prepare dinner. But because she had already prepared dinner, she decided to pick it up. That's when the baby immediately starts to cry. It only stops when she leaves the room to have lunch. After lunch, she does an unsuccessful search for a button for her son's jacket. She goes back to her coffee place. The previous visit on day 2, she sat at the table that was in the middle of the screen, most like her usual table. Coffee is brought to her without ordering. On day 3, her table's taken and the usual server is not there. So she actually has to order. She orders, but then she walks out without drinking it. Men. Besides her son, the only other men in the movie are the ones coming for paid sex. Day 1 and day 2 are very similar. Shot of hallway when old man shows up. Couple enters bedroom, camera holds on the hallway. Less than a minute later, the couple comes out. In terms of movie time, this action is twice as fast as making the bed and 5 times faster than washing dishes. I presume this is some sort of feminist commentary. Day 3 is different because we see the bedroom. We see the reflection of her in the mirror undressing. There's a jump cut to a young man on top of her in bed. We see her trying to fight off the pleasure she is getting from the situation. Another jump to her in the mirror with the guy in the bed behind her. The guy goes to sleep, a privilege not given to the other 2 men who immediately hustled out of the room. She looks over at the wedding picture of her dead husband, then picks up the scissors and stabs the man. The last 7 minutes of the movie are her sitting in the dark at the dining room table. Fade to black. That's it, fellow movie fans. My name is Keith, and that's all I could get from this over 3-hour movie. As I mentioned in the preamble, if you disagree, please put a link to your detailed analysis below in the comments. Thank you for watching.